Yes, you're on Carlos the Chicken. All right, welcome aboard. Gonna do some two-digit multiplication here. So I have 31 times 18, and I have 1 times 8. That's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at this 8. I'm gonna work with that first. So 1 times 8 is 8. Anything times 1 is itself. So I'm gonna write my 8 down there, and I'm just gonna show you over here what I did. So I had 1 times 8. All right, then I'm still working with this 8. I have 8 times 3, and that's 24. All right, the key part of this one of the most common mistakes people make is forgetting this 0 here. I wrote this 0 here because we're going to be multiplying right now by not 1, but this actually represents 10. Because if this represented only 1, the number here would be 1 plus 8, which is 9. But the number here is 18, which is 10 plus 8. So we've multiplied by 8, now we have to multiply by 10. So that's why that 0 goes down there. Next I have 1 times 1. And you don't have to do this off to the side like I'm doing. I'm just doing that to show you. 1 times 1 equals 1. And then the last thing is 1 times 3. So once I have this set up, all I have to do now is add them up. Make sure that the numbers have lined up sufficiently. And just add them straight down. So I have 8, 558. And that makes sense. If I was to multiply 30 times 20, 3 times 2 is 6. And if you're familiar with this trick, the 30 times 20, you can just add 2 zeros. And that would be 600. So this number should be a little bit lower than 600. That makes sense. We got the same problem here. I just want to show you another way that you might have thought about this. If that putting the place value 0 there was confusing. So we could think about this as doing 31 times 10, and then adding that with 31 times 8. And you might be saying, Mr. Surrender, how did you go from 18 to 10 and 8? Well, all I did was break up the number 18. 18 is just 10 plus 8. That's one way of thinking about it. And the reason I did it like this is it's sometimes easy to make this calculation. Anything times 10, the trick is you just add a 0 like I said before. So 31 times 10, I'd write the number 31, and then I'd add a 0. And we get 310 for that. And then 31 times 8, well, you're multiplying by a single digit now, so 8 times 1 would give you that 8, and then 8 times 3 would give you the 24, and again, we would just add up this 310 and 248, and it was kind of like what we did over here before. So it's just breaking up that place value. If that place value confused you at all, that's the reason why we add that 0 there. If I did 31 times 1 instead of 31 times 10, I'd get a completely different answer. Let's try one more example here. This one's got a 3-digit number, but it's the same as the last problem we did. It's just one extra digit. So we'd multiply one at a time. 5 times 3 would be 15. And so I'm going to write the 5 down here and carry my 1. That's key. 1 times 5 is 5, plus that 1 will give me 6. Got to carry that 0 over here. We can't forget that. 6 times 1 would be 6. 6 times 3 would be 18. Now you notice here we're going to carry this 1 again. There's already a 1 up there, but sometimes you don't always get the same number here. So I'm going to cross off that 1 just to get in a good habit and make sure I write another 1 up there. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 would give me 7. And now you can clearly see we're going to have a 4-digit number. So I have 5 plus 0 is 5, 5 plus 6, that's 11. That's 15. And that's 8. One more thing to note about these problems. This second row of numbers, as long as there's not a 0 up here, the second row of numbers is always going to be bigger than the first row of numbers. And if you want to see another example of that first problem we did, the second row of numbers here was bigger than the first row, even though we were multiplying by 1 here. Because really, as we found out, we were actually multiplying by 10. And that's the reason that this second row of numbers will always be bigger. All right, last problem. It's a word problem. Jeff Kinney, the author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't like that kid. He doesn't have good habits as a student. I read in a book once he copied. Not a good habit. Anyway, wants to give away 1 copy of his book to everyone in the 6th grade. if there are 220 students in the 6th grade, I don't think that's right. But anyway, if there are 220 in the 6th grade and 216 pages in each book, how many pages does he need? Well, all we're going to be doing is a 3-digit multiplication problem. Right? There's 220 students, and each student gets one book that has 216 pages. All right, so I did my first row. 6 times 0 was 0. 6 times 2 was 12. I carried that 1. And again, 6 times 2 is 12, and I added that 1. I got 13. I'm going to put a 0 here for my placeholder because I'm multiplying by 10. And then I'm going to put another 0 because I'm doing 1 times 0. So 2 straight zeros there. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you. And then I have 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 2 is 2. All right, now I put 2 placeholders down, you notice, because here I'm multiplying not by 20, but actually 200. So I got to put 2 zeros down, and now we do 2 times 0 is 0. So we're going to be adding a lot of zeros here. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 1 more 2 times 2 is 4 more. So actually this is going to be a really big number. A lot of pages to go away here, a lot of trees. Hopefully we got a Kindle so that we don't have to kill as many trees here in the future. 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, and then that last 4 will give me 47,520 pages. The last thing I'm going to do is just write that in a complete sentence. It just says Jeff Kinney needs 47,520 pages.